All right, everyone, we got a big one on deck for you today. We're going to be talking about an all-new brand that's launching called Veia. They make bags, they make gloves, and in today's episode, we're going to be specifically talking about their Explorer main glove. Stoked to tell you all about it.
Get to the chopper!
Check out how she comes.
Take it out!
Straight off the rip, Veia is an all-new brand that's launching with some board bags, some gloves, and some mitts. You know, their founders are deeply rooted in snow and surf, so it's pretty exciting. You know, they've got a lot of good products lined up and they're launching later this year, you know, probably on market for 26, 27. I was able to check out this Explorer main glove. I'm, typically been riding a lot of mittens, but lately made the crossover back to gloves, so I was psyched to give these things a rip. You know, there's something about leather gloves that really speaks to me because, you're shoveling, you're using your hands a lot when you're splitboarding or anything else, and having durability is absolutely key. You know, having a palm made from 100% cowhide leather is gonna hold up to pretty much anything winter can chuck at you. Before I get into the review and telling you what I think about this glove, let's quickly bump through some of the materials and features they have built into this glove. So the normal face here and the fingers are made out of like a double material of cubic nylon and 600D fabric. It's super lightweight and super durable. The palm and reinforced finger hinge here are made out of 100% cowhide leather. You know, when you're shoveling, just anything, using your hands in the snow, like it's always going to take a lot of abuse. And I've always found that leather gloves tend to, hold up the longest. I think they noticed that a lot of gloves blow out in this first finger, so they've added this nice little patch with a hinge to kind of beef up and reinforce that high wear zone. We got a standard Velcro cuff here. It's also got this reinforced nylon cuff. This little wrist leash, always great, when you're using, taking your gloves off, using your hands, letting them dangle on the chairs. You want to make sure you're not losing your gloves. On the pointer finger here, we have a touchscreen compatible material. So you're able to leave your gloves on, scroll through your phone, make that quick call, whatever it is. That's pretty cool. Thinking about digital devices, works with GoPros, works with cell phones, everything. All in all, I would have to say these are a great pair of gloves. They're lightweight, they're durable. Gloves, it's not rocket science. You definitely do want to have like a good quality materials because, you want your hands to be warm. You don't want them to be too bulky. You don't want them getting wet and soggy, but as you're looking at these things, finally, like great fabrication. All the seams are really well fabricated and designed. All in all, these are solid gloves. I had a great experience wearing them. The points that I really like on these are the fact that we have a cowhide leather palm. When I'm using my shovel or, maybe my poles when I'm splitboarding, definitely having like a real durable palm is absolutely key. I really enjoyed having a glove with the touchscreen finger. Like in this digital age that we live in now, it's pretty much an essential on your gloves or whatever it is. So yeah, that was a cool feature. This reinforced hinge, I never even really thought about something like this. There's so much wear and tear right there, after, buckling in your bindings every day and how many times a day that you do that when you're on the mountain. Another thing is my biggest pet peeves in gloves is when you put your hand in, you go about your day, and when it's time to take your glove off, the whole liner comes with it. And then you spend like 15 or 20 minutes trying to get each finger in the hole every time you take your glove off. So these are really well constructed. You're not going to have that problem with these gloves. I'm really excited to see where Veia goes. Brand new company in our snow space, which is exciting. Cannot wait to check out their board bags because that is an absolute essential for traveling and snowboarding. As far as who these gloves are for, it's not rocket science. They're good for anything and everything. So, whether you're splitboarding or just riding park, good day on the mountain, a good set of gloves is absolutely essential. Definitely give these Explorer main gloves the bomb-proof stamp of approval. Thanks for joining me on this review. Hope you learned something about a new brand called Veia, and we'll see you on the next review.
Get to the chopper!